Welcome to episode 82 of the Thunder Underground podcast. My name is Trent. As always, this is Jason.
Hello and welcome back.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It has.
It really hasn't. It's been, a week?
A week.
But we got in the habit there of putting out 2 episodes a week.
That's right.
So it feels like it's been a while, but probably to anyone listening, they're like, what? I just listened to you a couple days ago. Shut up.
Right.
We're tired of this.
These fucking guys again.
Yeah. Hey, they hit
Jesus.
play, so.
That's right. So we're thankful
what can
for
you
that.
complain, right?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Well, this week we're going to talk about a myriad of things.
Yes.
The main ones being a couple shows we went to. We're going to talk about Through the Stone. We're going to talk about Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about a couple albums that recently came out.
Okay.
And usually as we do, we play some music early on. So I thought, let's play a song right off the bat.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, several episodes ago, we had on Mike Ariza and Jeff Sandoval talking about their project playlist. And 2 of the songs on there, Kurt Arf played the bass on.
Okay.
And I bring that up because this band we're about to play, he's the bass player for as well.
Gotcha.
And this band is called Mind Merchant out of Chicago. And this song is called Crash and Burn. Check it out.
Coming up inside, you feel the weight pulling the chains. Never letting go, the fear is only to betray. Passing lying, shattered dying, hold the pain within. Let go over, closer sober, falling off the cliff. Crashing, burning, live inside the flame. Crashing, burning, prisoner to me. No chance to hide, no time to lie. Turn out, you're lost within. Left divided, paralyzing, deep within your reign. Stop the power, final hour, hold the pain within. Let go over, closer sober, back against the wall. Crashing, burning, live inside the flame. Crashing, burning, deep within your reign. Crashing, burning, lost what you control. Crashing, burning, prisoner to me. Crash and burn. Pacifying, need is dying. Why not try some more? Let go over, closer sober, pulling in the rain. Crashing, burning, crashing, burning.
That was Crash and Burn from Mind Merchant out of Chicago. You can look these guys up on Facebook. They've got links on there for YouTube and Bandcamp and all that stuff where you can check out their music. I know Kurt's also got it up on his Reverb Nation and SoundCloud, some Mind Merchant songs as well. So get on there and check that out.
Yeah.
Just really heavy melodic stuff.
Yeah.
I love it when people combine just a real heavy punch with those clean melodic vocals, and it's just got a real driving rhythm section, which is badass too.
Yeah, I mean, it's an airtight song. The drums are killer, and the solo really grabbed me. It's just wah-wah pedal, just watery, like a cobra coming out of the basket type kind of thing. I loved it. So yeah, this is a great song, and back up and listen to it again.
Yeah.
Before you listen to the rest of the podcast.
Yeah. Well, like I mentioned before the song, he was on Project Playlist with Mike and Jeff. So go back and check out that episode.
Definitely go back and listen to that one. That was a good one.
Yeah, and that's even more melodic, and straight up hard rock than what you just heard there. But it's all good. We love it all.
Yeah.
And Kurt also mentioned that he's got some other, I think some solo work that he's working on. So if that comes to fruition soon, we'll be sure to play you some of that as well. Once again, Mind Merchant on Facebook. Look him up. Let's talk about Dead Daisies first.
Okay.
There's no secret to anyone that knows me that if John Corabi could hawk a loogie on a compact disc and hand it to me, and I would probably think it sounded like Stairway to Heaven.
And it probably does.
Yeah, that's because it does.
Honestly.
It's not just an opinion.
Yeah. That John Corabi could sing the Roto Rooter theme song on the commercials, and it would be amazing.
Yeah. I
He could
agree.
do anything.
Well, this is now his second album with Dead Daisies, Revolution. Was that right? The second one? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because there was the ones before without him. But anyway, Revolution came out last year. They've already got a new one out in a year's time. Badass. And they, that one was on our top 15 of 2015.
Yeah.
And this one, is a candidate again for a year in list.
It's going to be on there. It's called Make Some Noise. Go buy it now.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some changes, and this band, has never been one that, it's never been the same five guys on any album. It's kind of their bio calls it a rock collective or something like that. And because they were always kind of early on, just like a rotating cast of characters. And, before they started the work on this next album, of course, Dizzy Reed and Richard Fortus left the band.
That's right.
For obvious reasons, which we'll get into later.
Of course.
You know what they are. And so to fill their spot, they got Doug Aldrich. So that's not, nothing against Richard Fortus. I love the guy. But that's probably an upgrade.
Yeah.
I don't really want to say that because Richard Fortus is badass. But
Yeah.
still, you can't get much better than Doug.
Yeah, it doesn't suck.
Right. And this whole album, just like Revolution, is just solid rock and roll. Just heavy, groovy rock and roll. It's just, you can't go wrong, with any of it.
No.
That song, Last Time I Saw the Sun.
That's the one I was going to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, it's kind of like the first album, one of the songs was Last Night, was towards the end of the album. It's just kind of like this soul, bluesy, kind of Rolling Stonesy kind of vibe, but more rocked up, and that's kind of the same way this is. And John Corabi, of course, his vocals fit that perfectly.
Yeah.
And there's tons of other songs on here, but what do you got to say?
This is classic hard rock, with amped up, a new feel. And you really, when you look at what's going on in music and kind of, as they call this, collective or super groups or whatever, because, Marco Mendoza's in it, and they've had a revolving door of people, like you said.
Brian Tishy's the drummer
yes,
right now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one of my favorite drummers, by the way.
Yeah, and he can play with his hands. He doesn't even need sticks.
Right.
And this has got more weight to it than most supergroups. I mean, these guys, you know, they tour, you know, they pound the pavement. They're coming out again with, you know, strong, solid product. I mean, I think, you know, they keep going like this and this schedule. I mean, this is going to be good for them, and it's going to be good for rock. It really is. But anyways, you know, and they do a badass cover of Fortunate Son,
Yeah.
you know, so Kid Rock, take that.
Well, let's say Fortunate Son is a song that has been
Oh, good
remade
God.
4,860 times.
Exactly.
And there's been
that's
good
why,
ones, whatever, you know. I like the one Dave Grohl did with John Fogerty. You know, there's, but just, I know there's been other ones I like. I'm just drawing a blank, but there, like you mentioned, there's something about this one that they didn't do it they didn't do it like when it starts. You don't really realize what it is until that kind of you recognize that guitar at the beginning, and then when he starts singing, that's really kicks in, and so they kind of made it their own, which was good.
Exactly, and that's why I think this is probably the best cover of that song I've ever heard. Mainline is a great song. I mean, you know, the opener, Long Way to Go.
Yeah.
It's great, and it's got a great message. Yeah, I mean, if you like, you know, if you like hard rock, you know, if you like classic rock, I mean, this is your deal.
Yeah, and that song, the title track, Makes Some Noise. It's just like you could hear this played live as a set opener, you know, forever.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that get up, stand up, sing along with me, clap your hands kind of
that's
song,
right,
you know.
yeah.
And speaking of covers, they end the thing with a badass cover of Join Together.
Yep.
And I mean, if people are making covers of Creedence and The Who, and they're up to standard,
Yeah.
you know, those two bands on one album, you know you're doing something right.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've got guys in this band from Whitesnake and Thin Lizzy, and I guess you could say Motley Crue.
Yeah.
And, you know, there was guys from Guns N' Roses in it, and there's, you know, Brian Tishy's played with everybody you could think of.
Yeah.
You know, Foreigner. There's a good group of names, but what you alluded to earlier was a good point, that it's a super group, but it doesn't really sound like a super group.
No.
Like you just feel like you're listening to a band, you know?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a one-off. It feels like this is something that's going to stick around, and it's something you can depend on.
Yeah.
Which is key.
Which is good too, because, you know, we went years and years with like, man, I wish John Crosby would come out with some music.
Exactly.
You know, or just get the chance to be in a band. You know, over the past several years, we've been lucky enough that we've got, besides just the Dead Daisies, several releases from Crosby, and it looks like there's going to be more.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful for that as a diehard fan of that guy.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, they're already huge in South America.
Yeah.
You know, they're like the fucking Beatles in South America. They're always opening for Kiss. They're always getting good slots.
Yeah, the Kiss thing is in
Yeah.
America right now, too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it
That
sure
they're getting
is.
ready to start
Exactly.
doing that on these shows, which
Yep.
is great. When you mentioned South America, they did you can look up on YouTube, there's a short documentary they did in Cuba, right? I think that's where it was.
Okay.
Where they, like, before they were making Revolution. It's like a 15, 20 minute, I think, documentary about going there and starting making the album and everything. It's really cool to see as well.
Yeah.
And that's for free on YouTube. But yeah, once again, Make Some Noise. It's on everywhere you can buy music.
That's right. So go buy it.
Hell yeah. All right, well, let's talk about Through the Stone.
Let's talk about
Let's do it. Well, we're going to play a song.
Yeah.
So maybe we should just play a song before we talk about, or you talk about
Yeah.
the show and all that stuff, just so people that aren't familiar with them can get a grasp of what we're talking about here.
That's right. We're going to play Decisions, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's do it.
Fell
got Decisions from Through the Stone off their self-titled album. This whole album is fantastic.
Yes, it is.
You know, we've championed these guys for a while. You know, we played them a couple other times, you know, earlier in the year and I think towards the end of last year. So it's great to be able to play it again and just, you know, talk about them.
Exactly.
I just encourage you, you know, a lot of people are on the fence about bands that, you know, they haven't heard of before, but they're on Spotify and they're on YouTube. You can hear the whole album, and I guarantee you that if you like heavy rock, you'll like it.
Yeah, I mean, if you like heavy, riffy, just Sabbathy type kind of stuff,
Yeah.
I mean, this is right up your alley. This is your deal. It's produced amazingly. It sounds great. All the performances are awesome. They were in town last week, while you were seeing Guns N' Roses. So
So my first question is, we've talked about this before.
yes.
Kate's vocals are just unbelievable on
They-
this album. They're, you know, just, what's the right word? You used the word evil before.
Yeah.
They're bone crushingly badass.
Yeah, they really are.
So
And
the big question is, when she stepped on stage, was it the same?
it was exactly the same,
Okay.
maybe better.
Wow.
Because, and not only, I mean, can she sing? She can sing perfectly. She's powerful, very powerful. One of those deals like Steelheart where she's holding the microphone way out here,
Oh,
way
wow.
away from her face. And I mean, it's still just loud as hell. I mean, it was insane. It was so good. And she made it look so easy. I mean, it was just, I mean, I was in awe. And, you know, our buddy Jason Carroll went with me and he was just like, man, what the hell? You know, he was really surprised too. And I wasn't surprised. I knew, you know, when she got up on stage, I was like, watch this. You know, I mean, it was such a treat to watch, especially in that, you know, that environment, that up close, intimate deal.
Billy and Renee's, by the way.
Yes. And thanks to them, for having this band, in.
Well, so this music, not just her voice, the music on this album, you know, is amazing as well. So
Yeah, I
did
mean-
that come across live?
Oh,
the same time?
it came across amazingly. I mean, the rhythm section was pulsing. The guitar player, you know, he could play like a motherfucker, but at the same time, he knew when not to play and just, you know, maybe add in a couple of nuances and just kind of let the, you know, the bass and the drums carry things. And I mean, it was just so well put together and such a treat to watch. Through the Stone, you guys have got to check this band out. You have to.
Yeah, you can find them on Facebook and Reverb Nation. And like I said, YouTube and Spotify. You can buy their stuff as well.
Yeah, and it was great to meet Kate. She was awesome. Me and Jason got to talk to the bass player for a little bit. So it was just a good night, and it was a great set of hard rock.
That's cool. Good
Yeah.
to hear. Yeah,
It
I
was
was,
awesome.
whenever she sent a message and said, hey, we're finally making it, because, you know, she had said several months ago they
Yeah.
were looking at coming through this area of the country. And
Yeah,
And then she sent the date, and I was just like, my heart sunk. I'm like, they finally made it, and then I'm going to be out of town.
yep.
And, but they went clear down, I know, to Austin, and, I think Kansas City, and I can't remember all the shows they did, but, you know, they're from Nebraska, and they made their way down through here into South Texas and back up. So hopefully they had a successful run, and they can, you know, do this more often.
Yeah, get the name out. And, you know, funnily enough, Kate had talked about how she'd been having some throat problems, some voice problems. And, you know, on the way to Tulsa, she was in the back of the van, you know, drinking honey and lemon and all that kind of stuff, which had to suck on 100 degrees, you know.
Right.
And, you know, she got up there and sang, and you had no indication that she was having difficulties at all.
Wow.
I mean, it was just absolutely professional.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah. Well, like you said, if you love your Sabbath, you love stoner rock. I mean, they kind of borderline into that, you know. If
Yeah.
you just love heavy rock, you'll love these guys.
Yeah,
Promise.
definitely.
All right. Well, when you were at Through the Stone, like we mentioned, I was at Guns N' Roses.
Yep. And let me just say, you've been back for a while, but I purposely have not asked you about this. I haven't gone into it because I want to hear it as we're recording, as it's going.
Nice.
So this is, you know, the first. I'm hearing it just like everybody else out there. So get into it.
Well, let's preface it with the fact that I'll probably say badass or amazing or whatever more than I should.
Okay.
You know, this is my favorite band since I was a kid.
Yep.
And, you know, what more, you know, can I say other, you know, to try to say without using the same adjectives over and over. you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, of course, everybody, you know, likes to bitch about Axl and bitch about Guns N' Roses.
Mhm.
But if you paid attention since this started, and even before this with the early shows and then the AC/DC stuff, you know, he's been getting a lot of praise.
Yeah.
You know, critically, and there's stuff, obviously, like any show nowadays, there's a million things on YouTube you can go look for yourself.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he sounds awesome.
Yeah.
And there's no reason to say Slash sounds awesome. There's never been a time where he didn't.
He didn't. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's not even a worry. But I'll just say, got to Dallas and I had pit tickets for both shows
Okay.
because I figure, like I said, this is my favorite band. Who knows if
If
they're
you're
going to
see it
keep
again,
doing this,
yeah.
you know, they might very well keep going for a few years, come back around in a year or two, couple years. But in case they don't, you know, I'm taking a chance while I got it.
I don't blame you.
So I went to Dallas and then Houston 2 nights later.
Okay.
And the doors open, you know, with pit tickets, if you want to be in the front, like with any show like this, you're like, well, you got to get there early, get in the front, and then hold your bladder for 6 hours or
Yeah.
whatever, and not drink anything while you're there, so you need to go piss or anything.
Now, we know I could never do that. Anyways.
I pulled it off in Iron Maiden, I pulled it off Bruce Springsteen, you know, a few other things like this, you know.
Yeah.
And I'll just say that those 2 things I just mentioned, along with a few other random shows, this show's up there, or the 2 shows together, as one of my greatest concert experiences ever.
Yes.
And that's just
Nice.
because of, especially the Houston one, because Dallas, we got to Dallas, you know, Dallas and Houston both, there's shitloads of traffic everywhere, especially when you're trying to get to a stadium.
Yeah.
And I'd left in more than enough time to get there, to get over there and get to the doors by 7. And, but of course, with tons of traffic, finally getting parked and getting over there, I didn't get over there till 7:30 or something.
Yeah.
But with that being said, really it was just the people that had got there super early that had lined the rail and a few other random people down there that even getting in there 30 minutes after the doors open, I still got up there there was 1 person or 2 people in front of me.
Yeah.
You know, I think someone had squeezed in or something, but that's basically it.
Wow.
So for that first show, I was like right off center, you know, the stage. If you hadn't seen on YouTube or anything like that, you know, it's got the, what do we call it? Part of the stage sticks out in the crowd.
Yeah.
And the pit section is divided by that thing that comes out.
Yeah.
But you can actually walk to either side. It was weird. They sold tickets like you're getting one side or the other.
I see.
And Ticketmaster shows it as being 2 separate sections. But there's like a pathway where you can walk between either way you want.
Okay.
Basically, it's, you know, there's no elaborate stage other than like any big production like this. You know, there's a drum riser and then there's stairs going up the sides and the
Okay.
platform going behind the drums where they can walk around and then massive screens behind that and on both sides. I mean, just like Guns N' Roses back in the day, all of them utilize the entire stage.
Yes.
You know, Axl's running all over the place. Slash every once in a while takes off running, you know, and so no matter who you're, you know, if you've got a favorite guy in the band or if you're way on one side of the stage and you just wished you could see someone else, they're all going to come in front of you at some point.
Yeah.
So there's not any worries about that. It's not like seeing some band where they're just like stuck in their positions, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know where to begin, you know? It's like
I bet.
they kicked it off with It's So Easy and just like they always do. And then here's something to say. The third song in was Chinese Democracy.
Really?
Yeah. And they played 4 Chinese Democracy songs at both shows.
Really?
And I knew that going into it because, you know,
Yeah.
of course, I've looked at the set list every night.
Yeah.
And you know, I've read stuff online, some people bitching about it, some people thinking it's awesome. And personally, I don't care. You know, I like the album.
Yeah.
Unlike a lot of people.
Yeah.
But, you know, as being a big fan, I would have said, well, maybe just 2 and then put in something like Pretty Tied Up or,
Yeah.
you know, The Garden or some other deep cut, you know.
Well, you know, Slash doesn't mind. I mean, he's played a Super Bowl with goddamn Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah.
He probably doesn't give a shit to do it.
Wunder Slash will play anywhere at any time.
That's right.
Yeah. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, he's played on
No.
Insane Clown Posse album. I mean,
Yeah.
so he apparently doesn't care, right?
Yeah. Slash, we need to talk, man.
But here's the thing, you know, it's like I like that album and the guitar work on it's phenomenal because, you know, when you got guys like Buckethead and Bumblefoot and
Yeah.
who else played on it? Paul Tobias, I don't know, but like, you know, it's great guitar work, but like I've said about a lot of guitarists, you could be better than Slash, but you don't sound better than Slash.
That's right.
And, you know, his soul, his tone, all that stuff.
Tone City.
Yeah. And so whenever you put that into the Chinese Democracy songs, it gives the solos more life.
Okay.
And it just kind of makes them even more something where it's like, man, I kind of wish now they'd re-record this with the current lineup, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure, I'm sure if they do something, they're obviously going to do new stuff, but it would just
Yeah.
be cool to hear because there's half the songs on that album could easily fit on a Use Your Illusion album.
Yeah.
You know, and it's got the same sound. Most people just don't give it a chance to find that out.
Yeah. Oh, I get it. Yeah.
But I got ahead of myself. The Cult opened up in Dallas.
Okay.
Okay. And the Cult kicks ass. We know
Of
that.
course.
You know, it's great to see them on a big stage like that. They got a good response. I looked around and, of course, most people there, you know, knew like Firewoman
Of course.
and like,
Oh, yeah.
you know, that. And I looked around, I saw 1 or 2 other guys kind of singing along to most of the songs, but most of it was Firewoman and, you know, Love Removal Machine. Those people knew that, and She Sells Sanctuary. But even without that, when they played other songs, they played Rise, which shocked me because they didn't even play that when we saw them on the headline tour. Right?
Yeah.
And then,
Oh, yeah, that's right. You texted me. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that.
and then they played, you know, a new song and Rain and Wildflower and all that. And they still got a great response, you know, from the crowd, even with songs, you know, that 75% of people in there didn't know
Yeah.
the new Cult, probably more than that, didn't know the new Cult song, but they still got a good response, which was good to see. And it was kind of, you know, they went on at 8 o'clock and it wasn't filled up yet,
Mm-hmm.
but it was still several thousands of people in there.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, I don't know what the numbers were, but the Cowboy Stadium was filled clear up to the top rafter, and the top rafter was kind of, you know, spattered a little bit.
Wow.
But the whole floor and all other sections, and I mean, that place is like the biggest stadium in the NFL, I
Yeah.
think, now.
Yeah, it's huge.
I know when WrestleMania was there, it had 106,000 people or something.
Damn.
And this obviously can't hold that many for this show, but
Yeah.
still, you know, so there's tens of thousands of people there. Anyway, so the Cult kicked ass. Guns N' Roses kicked ass. There you go.
Nice. Nice. What'd they close with again?
Paradise City.
That's right. Sorry. Okay.
They closed the set before the encore with Night Train, and he even has 3 horns mounted on the front of that part of the stage that jets out,
Okay.
like, you know, that are probably like 3 foot big
Yeah.
or long, and, you know, he grabs a little, you know, hand button thing and hits it, you know, for the horn at the beginning of Night Train.
Yeah.
And no, the thing's mounted on the stage the whole show just for that moment, you know.
Because, yeah, when you're Guns N' Roses, you can do that.
Right?
Damn right.
But
So-
I will say, glad of course they play that every show, but that's my favorite song
Yeah.
ever. So, and they played Coma
Okay.
at both shows.
Okay.
Or they're playing it at all the shows.
Well, now let me ask you something. You said, you know, earlier you said especially Houston. What made the Houston show so special?
Well, I made sure to get there early.
Okay.
That the now was cutting it close too. Like driving from Dallas to Houston was, you know, it's like a 3.5 hour drive.
Yeah.
But with traffic, it took almost 6 hours.
Damn.
Just because there's construction and traffic everywhere and getting into Houston at rush hour and all this
Oh,
stuff.
shit.
And the gates there open at 6:30.
Uh-huh.
And I pulled into a parking spot at a hotel at the, you know, right across from the stadium.
Yeah.
At 6:18.
Shit.
got out of the car, ran over, got in line, and there was, at that point, probably already 50 people in line in front of us.
Wow.
And then they had it marked off on the different things. It said like GA only, which is pit, and then like floor seats only, and then like upper sections. And people were just standing in this line, and the lady came around and announced, said, if you're not GA, you can't be in this line. And 40 people probably left the line.
Really?
So we got up to like 10 people in front of us.
Yes.
And
score.
Yeah. And then they opened the gates, and Dallas was like smooth. Like you walked in, they scanned the ticket, walked in, whenever got your wristband, went down there. Houston was a clusterfuck. Like,
wow.
Their people was taking, they couldn't scan the phone tickets. When the second, he was scanning it, and he's like, I can't get this to work. He's yelling at someone. They're like, you got to do this or that. And he's like scanning it sideways. I'm like, it's this way. And so I'm like putting a shade so he can see what he's doing. And then he still can't get a scan. He's like, just go ahead and go. Don't tell anybody. I'm like, well, I care. I'm not going to tell anybody.
Yeah, no kidding.
And then like
you care about that guy's fucking job.
And then
at that point,
they checked the ticket 3 more times, which, I understand at some points, but it's like they checked it even after I got the floor wristband. And then after I got the pit wristband, then they checked it again before I went in the pit. I'm like, I've got the wristband on.
Yeah.
With it marked, but anyway, it just took way longer than it should have. But the point is, I got there in time, got up on the rail.
Yes.
I was basically just a few foot over from where I was in the show before.
Okay.
Just on Duff's side, and got up there and got right on the rail and stayed there, from 6:45 or whenever it was we finally got in there till 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So what was, did the set list differ?
Yeah.
They did? Okay.
Yeah, they changed. The first night they played My Michelle, Patience, and Sorry from Chinese Democracy. And the second night they played Catcher in the Rye, and then Out to Get Me and Don't Cry.
Okay.
Instead of those other 3.
Nice. Now, did he talk to the crowd a lot at all, or? No. Really?
He did, like here and there, but like, they played for 2 hours and 45 minutes both nights.
Wow.
And that was extremely little downtime. Like,
that's awesome.
I'm not talking like if Phil Anselmo's on stage, it's 2 hours and 45 minutes. That's actually, 1 hour and 58 minutes of music.
Exactly.
This isn't like that. This was probably 2 hours and 38 minutes of music.
That's great.
Or more.
So you're getting your money's worth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just never stop. Like, like the song would stop, go black, and then come back up. They start the next song, and it was just like bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
And, he just said thanks after songs. It's great to see you. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. And he said, so I got a question for you guys. Is this Dallas or is this Arlington? Because all these things around here say Arlington. I don't really know what's going on. And then walked off and started singing a song. But
and no Steven Adler.
No.
Damn it. Sorry, Trent.
Yeah. Hey, it was still great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's great, man. I'm glad you got to go. I mean, I can only imagine. I mean, it'd be like, for me, it'd be like if Metallica stopped playing in 1994 and just now came back and started playing again.
Yeah.
I mean, so I definitely understand, and I'm happy that you got to see that. You needed it. You needed to see that.
Yeah. Yes, it's one of those things where like I just kept thinking about it afterwards, and it's like, I'm not joking. That second night was 2 hours and 45 minutes, and it felt like an hour.
Yeah.
It's like one of those ones where it was that good. I've been to shows that were an hour that felt twice as long as this.
Yeah, no shit.
It's just like it just flew by, and they're playing tons of songs that are 8-10 minutes long, with Coma, November Rain, and Estranged, and
that's
Knocking
great.
on Heaven's Door, Extended, and all that stuff.
Did they do the little reggae breakdown with Knocking on Heaven's Door?
They still did this long breakdown, like
bastards.
Richard Fortus had a solo, then Slash had a really long solo, and then Axl did his whole I'm going to sing and you're going to sing, but there was no give me some reggae. There was none of that.
Damn it. I really liked when they did that.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, you can look up on YouTube like that thing where someone put like Axl saying give me some reggae for 20 minutes or something like that. All right, another thing to mention, I had looked at all the set lists, like leading up to this, and they were changing stuff here and there, but the last several shows leading up to this, it was pretty much the same. I think Patience and Don't Cry would flip-flop, and that's it. But, and Duff was singing New Rose most nights, but he was singing Attitude earlier in the tour.
Okay.
But then when we got to Dallas, he sang Attitude which was badass.
That's great.
And
God.
well, he introed it with "You Can't Put Your Arms Around a Memory," which was cool.
Yeah.
You know, like the opening part of that until that gets fast, and then went right in Attitude and did the same thing in Houston.
Yeah.
But it was badass. I didn't care about the same thing. And the other thing of note, Houston made some news with the fact that a few minutes into November Rain,
Oh, that's right.
see that?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw that.
like,
Totally forgot.
I don't know, 2 or 3, maybe not even 2 minutes into it, you know, because they play Richard Fortus and Slash play "Wish You Were Here," like a full-on version of it.
Really.
Just guitars though, no vocals. And then as soon as that ends, like while that's in, you know, they're up there playing it on the behind the drums
Yeah.
on the riser, you know, with the lights on them and everything's dark. And while they're doing that, they roll the grand piano out into that middle part of the jetted out stage. And then so when the lights come back up, Axl comes out there and sets down, and then they play Layla, or the end of Layla, but the whole end of it, the whole heavy fast part.
Wow.
And
That's crazy.
yeah, you know, so I mean, that's why this thing's 2 hours and 45
Yeah.
minutes, you know, and they, you know, and that sounds great. And then as soon as Layla ends, then he starts November Rain.
Yeah.
And, you know, in Dallas, it went off perfect, sounded great. Then in Houston, a minute or two into it, it's not one of these things where like a musician, you know, musicians will say this sucked, you know, it sounded like shit, but like no one in the crowd hears it.
Yeah.
It's just all them, you know.
Yeah.
And maybe it did, but no one notices it because it's so minor.
Yeah.
But you could notice this. Like
Really?
it was like a real pinging, like weird sound. And, you know, and Axl's like starts laughing, and then he like looks back and then keeps playing, and he's like, "What the fuck is that?" Like he says that on the mic, like in between verses, and then keeps going, and then he's like, "All right, stop." He's like, "No, stop. Everybody stop." And like everybody stops, and like Slash is kind of like walking and stops and is like looking at him, and I'm like, "This is it. I'm here. I get to say that I'm here for this moment." You know?
Seeing the meltdown.
Yeah. And he's like, "What the fuck is that?" And he's like, still kind of like smiling, but it's like a real sarcastic smile, you know? And then I thought he said, no, then he says, "Well, yeah, the fucking piano's broken. What do you fucking suggest?" And he's like looking back. You can't tell who he's looking at.
Yeah.
I thought he was looking at Dizzy, like maybe it was his keyboard.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I guess he was looking at a tech, and he's like, "Well, all right, let's just fucking go for it," you know? And then they start playing. And then within a minute, I'm not joking, a minute of this happening, the stage crew rolls out a new grand piano.
Shit.
Axl Rose has a backup grand piano backstage ready to go, which makes sense, I guess, on a tour that grand. You need it
On a
in case-
grand scale with that much money at stake and
in case something goes wrong.
yeah, all that. You gotta.
Damage, you know. But they had it out there within a minute. But the funny thing was, you know, he's facing straight sideways,
Yeah.
and they rolled it out on a side I'm on that his back was facing.
Yeah.
And, you know, so he would have had to like look backwards to see it, and he never looked backwards. So he, as far as I could tell, he never knew it was there.
Really.
And he never, you know, and they put it out there, I guess, in case he wanted to get up and walk over to it.
hmm
And then once it got to the part, you know, where the song changes and goes in that fast part at the end,
Yeah.
they came back out and rolled it off when they realized he wasn't going to go to it. So it's like he never even saw this whole thing take place.
Wow, that's crazy.
And they never, I read several stories about that, you know, on different news sites, and none of them ever mentioned that either. Because it's all just based off of YouTube videos where someone was like straight on Axl.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was kind of funny that wasn't like ever mentioned. Like, here's a whole new piano, but it's not like he's going to say stop the song again and get up and,
Yeah.
you know, because you can't just like keep playing without his part because that's pretty intricate to that song.
Yeah.
But, and then at the end of the song, he says, "All I heard was, well, at least you could learn your fucking parts." And he was looking backwards, and I'm like, was he talking to Dizzy or Frank or something? Because he was looking right at them, you know? And then he's like, "Well, that was pretty embarrassing," and then walks off stage, and then they start the next song, and he comes back out and goes on it like anything else.
Really.
And,
Wow.
but then I'd read later on all the reports was he said, I don't mind Ghost and Gremlins, but at least they could learn their fucking parts." So I guess he was referring to the piano fucking up.
Yeah.
So he wasn't like looking at Dizzy or whatever, like I was thinking. I was like, well, maybe we're still going to see a breakdown after the show. But regardless, the main point here is that if this was 1993,
Oh,
that would have been
Jesus.
the end of the show.
Yeah, there would have been a riot, all kinds of shit. Yeah.
So here we are 23 years later, and I guess that's a sign that Axel is a matured adult.
A kinder, more gentler Axl Rose.
Yeah.
Trent.
He's not only 28 like he was in Estranged in 1991.
That's right. Well, like I said, that's a great story, and it's great that Thunder Underground was represented there.
Yeah. I forgot the second night I was there. I'm like, why didn't I bring a t-shirt in here? Because I thought of it in Dallas.
Yeah.
And then I was in such a hurry in Houston that I
Yeah.
forgot to grab it. But I was literally going to like just throw it at Duff at the end of the show.
Yeah.
You know, and just hope. I'm sure it'll
Hope.
just end up in a roadie's hand thrown in the trash or something. But like, it's worth a shot. You
You
know?
never know. You never know.
Because, you know, I mean, we're literally at the barrier, you know, on a grand stage, size that stage, you know, there's still several feet
Yeah.
between you and the
Yeah.
The
Oh,
stage.
yeah, definitely.
you know, because there's room for all the crew guys and the security and all that. But you were like right there close enough that, you know, whenever, you know, Richard Fortus, you know, was doing his spinning around, like you just see the sweat flying off his hair in circles. You know,
Really?
like that's how close you were.
If you had thrown a shirt, could you have made it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it was like 8 foot.
Okay,
you know,
gotcha,
If I had wadded
gotcha.
it up in a roll and tossed it. You know?
Okay.
Because, I mean, he was tossing, they were all tossing people picks like directly to people,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh,
and
that's
that kind
great.
of thing.
That's great.
But anyway, like other things have mentioned, you know, it's good for hard rock and rock and roll in general
Yeah,
that there's
it's-
something this big because that there isn't anything out there with a single band that's playing football stadiums.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
I mean, everything is like, you know, I mean, Metallica even, you know, plays arenas.
Yeah.
They fill them up, but still it's like, I'm sure Metallica, well, they're playing Minneapolis
Yeah.
at the Viking Stadium and filling it up.
hmm
And they could probably do that without Avenged Sevenfold and Volbeat being there.
Yeah.
But I don't know, could Metallica fill up football stadiums for a full tour? Because they tour enough that it's not as a big
not
a
as a
deal to
thing.
some people,
Yeah.
you know?
I have an idea.
Yeah.
Summer 2017. Guns N' Roses, Metallica. They call it the do-over.
Yeah.
You fucking, why body count open? They fucking did last time. They're
Faith
still
No
here.
More's back together.
Faith No More. God damn it.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's funny
You
you
know.
mentioned that yesterday. I was talking about this at work, and Justin said, "Hey, if next year's the 25th anniversary of that tour, if Axl and
Yeah.
Slash can get back together, then Guns N' Roses and Metallica can get back together."
that's right. That's
And
right.
like he said, Jason Newsted was the one that seemed to have the most problem with people anyways, and he's not
Yep.
there. And Rob's cool with everybody. So
That's right. Right. Yeah. Rob's cool with absolutely everybody.
Yeah.
So let's do this.
Yeah.
Hashtag the do-over tour. I'm fucking starting it now.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, I just hope, you know, I mean, they've announced all this stuff for South America. You know, they're going to go to Europe and Australia,
Yes.
Japan, all that stuff. But hopefully we're fortunate enough it comes back around. I'll go again. I don't care.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. I
Yeah.
really would.
Yeah, because you can't, well, like I just said, you don't see that kind of stuff
Yeah.
on that grand of a scale.
Yeah, you can't not
So
see it. Yeah.
It's great to have something like that back in the rock world.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, yeah. And Skrillex opened up Houston, and that sucked ass.
Okay, well, that's all we can just keep going.
Let me just say real quick.
Fuck.
I'll just say this. It's like I've seen stuff like that before live. Like I saw Bass Nectar at D-Fest.
Yeah.
You know, and whenever you've had a few libations, you know, and you know, Bass Nectar is a little different. It's a little more straight up DJ where he's mixing in guitar work in with this stuff, and it's
Yeah.
like he's not really fucking with people's vocals and stuff. And it sounds cool, you know, you're like, I can get into this, you know, for a little bit. But Skrillex, we know this has got, you know what this is. It's a DJ / dubstep. And he's
Ugh.
like, you know, distorting people's, you know, you're listening to Seek and Destroy, you know, and it's like, wow, you know, it's just like fucked up, whatever.
Ugh.
I mean, he was smart enough to obviously, he completely played to the audience. It was all, you know, Sabbath and Pantera and Metallica and Iron Maiden and Motley Crue and whatever. And people were cheering. It wasn't like a full on cheer like it was obviously for Guns N' Roses, but there was enough cheers to where it was a good reception.
Yeah.
But I looked around and like there was like 2 people down there in the pit near me that were like happy it was going on. Everybody else is standing like, okay, when's this shit gonna end?
Ugh.
And the problem I had with it was if I was back in the seat, I'd been like, okay, I can look at my phone,
Yeah.
be done with it. But I was on the rail, and you know how the rail has, any of those rails have that flat thing that sets on the ground that goes out a few foot?
Yeah.
And you're standing on that. So the vibrations from everything was resonating through that metal that I'm
Ugh.
standing on. And there, I couldn't leave because then someone's going to get my spot. So it was just like this, like literally making your stomach sick from the bass vibrating through your body. That
Dude.
just like, I couldn't even explain. Just like, if that wasn't happening, I could have just ignored it and went on
Yeah.
my way. But, and, you know, I'm just getting annoyed with him fucking up all these songs. And
Yeah.
then they starts playing Bohemian Rhapsody. I'm like, okay, now he's going to fuck up Freddie Mercury's vocals. He's taking it too far.
Yeah.
But that's the only credit I'm going to give him. He played the full thing and didn't do anything to his vocals. So
Wow.
props to him for that. And that's the only props I'm giving.
Dude, I give that guy no props. Dude, go grab a guitar and go back to your apartment or your mansion or whatever.
Yeah.
Ugh.
All right. Well, like you said, you're glad I got to go. I'm glad I got to go.
Hell yeah.
I'm sure I forgot something. I'll think about it later. But anyway,
There'll be another episode.
people probably tired of me talking about Guns N' Roses now.
Never.
All right.
Never.
All right. Well, moving along. I haven't even mentioned TheThunderUnderground.com yet. We're getting pretty deep in here.
Go there.
Yeah. Go there. Go to that website. We've got all these other episodes. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But, you know, they're all embedded on there. They're on SoundCloud. We've also got reviews. Jason just did one on a band called King Buffalo.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, it's another great band, you know, like Through the Stone that you need to check out, you know, just check out these bands that aren't as well known as Guns N' Roses.
Yeah,
Or-
and if you liked Be At The Means that we reviewed a while back, you're gonna love King Buffalo.
Jason Carroll, he's talking to you.
That's right.
Yeah. Jason Carroll probably turned it off halfway through the Guns N' Roses thing because I don't think
Nah.
he cares much for them.
Ah,
But anyway,
he loves our voices, so he's still listening.
there you go. Well, we've got something else we need to talk about. You got something you want to say first?
And he loves to Facebook shame me.
Oh, that's right.
That shit's gotta stop.
You just said it on record. It's got to stop.
By God. Anyways, go ahead, sorry.
You need to just take a bunch of 5-hour energies and get all, you know, jittery and stuff and wait for him to pass out.
Yeah,
Shame
I'll
him.
paint his head like a fucking baseball.
All right. Well, we want to talk about another album that came out last week, like Dead Daisies did,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the new one from Jackal.
Oh, yes. Now, this thing kicks fucking ass. And I don't know what the title stands for or means or how it's pronounced. You said you do, so take it away.
Well, it's all capital letters. It's ROWYCO.
Okay.
Rock out with your cock out.
Oh, why didn't I fucking... And there's a rooster on the goddamn cover. How did I not... How did I not get that?
It's Jackal. It makes sense.
I know.
It almost makes sense. Like, why didn't Jesse James Dupree's not ever been the one to hide behind acronyms or whatever?
Yeah.
You know?
God, to quote Mallrats, I'm slipping in my old age.
Right?
Comics here at my mall, and I didn't know. Anyways. Slipping.
Yeah. Well, as usual, Jackal does rock out with their cock out.
Yes, and
Whether it be on stage or on record.
and this one they do. I mean, the last one, all Jackal is good Jackal. The last one though didn't grab me as much, and I think this album is it's like it's to their debut what Headed for Destruction was, or Push Comes to Shove was. I mean, this album is like it's mature and it's like it's heavier. It's still got all that signature Jackal stuff, but like Disaster Piece, the opening track is just like it's fucking monumental, and it's and there's no good time vibe here. It's just it's just killer from start to finish. It's got a dirge. It's got, it's almost kind of grungy in a way. I mean, it's just, talk shit all you want. The redneck thing and the chainsaw. I mean, these guys can really do a lot of different shit. And this opening track, Disaster Piece, is a prime example of that.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's just like there's something when you first listen to this. There's something about it that is. Every one of their albums has a little bit of a different feel.
Yeah, it does.
Kind of. But this one, there's just something about it that's different. It's just like more intense than anything they've ever done, I guess would be the right way to say it. And I'd read something, last week, I think, where he had said that it was his most personal lyrically. Because, like you said, most of the stuff's, like in your face, just like about sex or whatever.
Yeah.
Just something more comedic. There's serious stuff, like when Moonshine and Dynamite Clyde had some serious stuff, but it's like, this one seems to be, for the most part, that way.
Yeah.
And it's just like the feel of it feels more like a classic album than it does like a new album.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sound dated, if that's not what I'm trying to say.
Exactly. And that's, you summed it up way better than I did. It's not that the last one didn't grab me, because it's all good and, that was a great track and, but I don't know. I think it's just this one, it just really grabbed me.
No, that was 2 albums ago. Best in Show was the last one.
That's right. Best in Show. Yeah.
And I feel the same way.
No, I know what you're talking about now. Sorry. I got it. I know which album we're talking about. Okay. But yeah, it's not that, but this one just really, like, they were really we mean business on this one, and you could tell. And that's just kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, like one of the songs that jumped out to me probably the most was Everyone's a Winner.
Yeah.
Because it's real. Jackal has always been compared to AC/DC.
Yeah.
More so for his vocal style than anything.
Yeah.
But, the music even has that kind of feel at times, but not really.
Yeah.
But anyway, this song's really one that just sounds like 70s era Bon Scott.
Yeah.
It's that real kind of mid-tempo groove, bluesy but heavy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, but it doesn't sound like Kix Girl Money where they're just ripping it off. And, no offense to that. Everyone knows I love Kix and Girl Money's a
Kix.
badass song,
Yeah,
but I'm just saying it sounds exactly like Bon Scott era AC/DC. This doesn't, but it does, so that's a little bit cooler in that sense.
Well, for me, the song that one of my favorite songs on the record, which is getting back to the good old, jackalisms and the drinking,
just
is
because I'm
just
drunk.
because I'm drunk doesn't mean I'm wrong.
Right.
And I tell you why I like that song, because I can really identify with it, especially lately with what I'm going through. And if there was any song I would dedicate to that person, it would be this goddamn song. Just because I'm drunk doesn't mean you're right. So, bam.
Right. And
Anyway,
it's a good,
yeah, and it is.
it's a good, the ballad Jackal, the Jackal ballad,
Yes,
the sense,
exactly.
like, Secret of the Bottle and that kind of thing. They're good at that kind of thing, even though they don't do it that often.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's cool to have one of these here,
And the second thing I was going to say is, it seems to me, he's kind of flexing his voice a little bit in this song. He kind of goes into some avenues you don't hear him do a lot. So I thought that was really cool, with the deeper stuff and just kind of just being a little bit more, broad, and just a little bit more just hanging it out there, which is weird because he always fucking hangs it out there.
Yeah.
But I don't know, just listen and maybe you'll understand what I'm trying to say. But yeah, dude, you're asking me a million goddamn questions when I ain't got a goddamn thing to hide. I'm telling you, man. Out of the park, hit a home run.
Yeah. And that's what, people that haven't followed them close enough, you got to realize Justin Dupree's, in my eyes, Gene Simmons level genius.
Yeah, he is.
As far
he
as
really
like,
is.
as far as his marketing ability, what, he's done, well, the whole band's done because they've all kept this together. The same group now. It's not the original lineup, but the same core of guys for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
And, him spearheading this and with, the image he portrays on stage. And then, of course, all the stuff he's got going on with, the whiskey. And then all the stuff he's got going on with what's it called? Up in Sturgis.
Jesus, what is that called?
We just completely draw the
I know. I watched every
watch it a
season
million
of that
times.
fucking
Yeah.
show.
Full Throttle.
Full Throttle Saloon. And see, that's the thing is he's super fucking smart. And, you know, you hear the yeah and the chainsaw.
Yeah.
No, there's way more layers to this guy, and he's super smart. He's got a lot of irons in the fire, and he makes them all fucking hot.
Yeah. And his whiskey's good.
Yes,
It's
yeah,
not
it
just
is.
some cheap knockoff with his name on it. It's good.
It is quality shit.
Yeah. Mike DiPetrillo will agree.
Yes,
Shout out to Driver,
of
by the way,
course, always.
who we will see at Streets Gone Wild. Plug for that. Coming up in about a month.
That's right.
But speaking of Jackal and live shows, they're coming to Oklahoma City on September 1st
Yep.
at the Diamond Ballroom. We're going to be there.
Yes.
They're going to have Drunk on Monday opening. They're
Okay.
going to have Chasing Jenny opening.
Nice.
And they're going to have Searching for Sanity out of Tulsa opening,
Okay.
which I do believe this is their final show. I don't
Oh,
really
it
know.
is?
I don't know the
didn't
story
any of
behind that.
kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know the story. I just read that it's their final show. I guess
Okay.
they're just decided to move on and do other stuff. But,
Gotcha.
you know, so look out for that. They're a great live band. So it's cool that their final show is on a show like this.
Yeah. What a way to cap it off there.
Yeah. And speaking of Jackal, Jeff Worley's got a new book out. It's
Oh,
been
I
out
got to
for a
get
few-
my hands on this.
It's been out
dude.
now a few months and neither one of us has got it. We're slacking.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of that guy. You know, I don't know
Yeah.
why. He's just always been the guy that I was drawn to in Jackal. You know, I
Yep.
just kind of
Well, you see him up there, he's just cool as shit.
Yeah, that's
you
the
know?
thing. It's just like one of those people without sounding
Yeah.
like a dork. That guy just oozes coolness, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
And you're just like, man, I wish it's kind of like he's like the Keith Richards, you know, of
Exactly. Yeah.
Cock
yeah,
rock,
That's,
you
that's
know?
a good way to cock
know?
rock. You son of a bitch. You said cock rock.
I had to say it because
Oh,
it's Jackal.
jeez.
They have cock in their names, you know? She loves my cock. Rock out with your cock out.
There you
right?
go.
But that's another thing, you know? I mean, we could talk about this more when we talk about that show, but Jackal came out in like 92
Yeah.
at the end of the glam era.
Yeah.
Whenever anyone coming out in that year had no shot. But the thing is, they weren't a glam band. They weren't a hair metal band, but they got always lumped in with those bands.
I know, which fucking sucks.
And I mean, they seem to not care. They'll play the festivals, they'll play shows with all these bands, and it fits, it makes sense. It's got the same fan base, but
Mhm.
their music is nothing like that.
No.
It's just straight up, you know, ballsy, bluesy, dirty rock and roll.
That's right. And they got to play Woodstock.
Yeah.
None of those other bands got to.
Yeah. So they were kind of, you know, an anomaly in that time period.
Yeah.
You know, to have stuff on the radio in 92, 93, 94.
Yeah, exactly. And to still be going now, I mean, it's just great.
Yeah. And they, you know, if you haven't listened to them since, you know, those first two albums when they had all the hits that people know, you know, go, besides just this new album, check out any of those albums.
Yeah, you're
You
missing
know,
out.
Relentless and all that stuff, you know, it's got
Yeah.
great stuff on it, you know?
Yeah, Vegas Smile, Kill the Sunshine.
Yeah.
Shit, man.
Locked and Loaded with Brian Johnson.
Yeah, no shit.
And of course, Dumbass Country Boy, which is one of the greatest
It is one of the greatest songs ever.
songs you will ever hear, yeah.
That's right.
Well, we mentioned earlier, thethunderunderground.com is our website. We've got reviews up. We've got all the other podcasts up. We've got all kinds of stuff. You can buy t-shirts from us. You can buy koozies from us.
And please do.
Yeah, hit us up at thethunderunderground@gmail.com if you want to buy something, or if you have a band you want us to play your song, or you want us to just check out your stuff, send it to us, shoot us an email. And soundcloud.com/thunder-underground is where the episodes are hosted. 81 other ones you got to go check out.
Yeah.
We just had on Mark Gus Scott from Trickster as our
That was
last
a good
episode.
one.
That was a good one. We had on Mark Torian from the Bullet Boys. In the same vein as that, we've had on Joey Allen from Warrant, Ian Hogland from Europe. Like I mentioned earlier, Mike Ariza has been on twice now. You know, he's played in Frank Hannon's band
Yeah.
from Tesla. And then, of course, you know, we go heavy. Crowbar, The Obsessed,
Overkill.
yeah, Battlecross,
But oh yeah.
Sons of Texas, Insight, Soil, Drowning Pool. We've got more local and regional guys. Scream Red Mutiny,
Yeah.
Severmind, Driver.
Oklahoma Braves.
There you go.
Senior Fellows.
Dave Cantrell from Bunnies of Doom.
That's right. Scott and Jana from Rocket Science.
Yeah, and if you're from this area, you'd know him from Down for Five and Sybil's Machine.
Yes. Yeah. Dead
So
Metal
just-
Society.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Caroline Spine,
yeah.
speaking of Jason Gilardi.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just if you're a newer listener and you hadn't went back, go back. We'd appreciate it. And thank you for listening anyway. And if you want to hear more about Guns N' Roses, email us at thethunderunderground@gmail.com. And I'll send you pictures. I got some good ones.
I know
I'm
you
a
did.
humble person, but I got some pretty damn good pictures.
The one of Richard Fortus with the screen of death in the background was fucking badass, dude.
Nice.
That was a great picture.
Hell yeah. Well, do you have anything else you want to throw out there?
I think it wraps it up.
Crowbot's got a new single. I haven't listened to it yet.
It
so
was
I can't talk about
badass.
it.
I mean, it was
Wasn't
textbook Crowbot. I mean, you know, they're not doing anything new. They're not reinventing the wheel. They're just, they're turning your brain to mush and kicking your ass at the same time.
But
It's a great song.
I like their promos for this stuff. It's called, what's the name of the album? It's like
Fat City.
Fat City.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know, let's get fat or something. And there's pictures of them with hamburgers and stuff. I don't know.
See, I don't need to get fat. I'm already there. So this is great.
So welcome to Fat City.
Yeah.
That just reminded me of a point I wanted to make.
Oh shit.
You brought it up. Going back to Guns N' Roses. You
Okay.
said Slash, Tone City.
Yeah.
I saw Slash and Billy Duffy on the same night. That's like
Yeah.
Tone fucking state.
That's a tone overload. That's a nation of tone.
There you go.
That's a tonation.
Tonation. You just created a new word.
I sure did.
Yeah. Because that guy, Billy Duffy, is in my opinion, one of the most underrated, you know, guitarist of rock history.
Yeah, he is.
You know, he's just like Slash, he's got an undeniable sound that, you know, has tried, you know, to be duplicated. You know, in more recent times, I've heard Offspring songs and Theory of a Dead Man songs that are straight up ripping this guy's sound off.
Yeah.
And it's just like, he never gets the credit, you know, for that kind of thing.
I wouldn't want to take credit for Theory of a Dead Man or Offspring ripping me off.
I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about anything.
Oh, I know. No,
Getting
you're
credit,
right. You're
getting
totally
credit
right.
where it's due
Oh, I know.
in general. Okay. And same with Ian Astbury, but
Yeah,
that's a talk for another day.
it is.
I probably already said all this back in the episode where we talked about the show, right?
I'm sure, yeah. But we can do it again. Fuck it.
All right. Well, like I mentioned, thethunderunderground.com, soundcloud.com/thunder-underground, facebook.com/thethunderunderground. We're also on YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, and Instagram.
Yes.
And Instagram, #LostClassic is something we hadn't mentioned in a while.
That's
Because we hadn't
right.
done one in a while, but we've got tons of them up there. If you put in #LostClassic, you'll find a ton of pictures of albums with
Albums that you'll be like, oh, fuck, I forgot about that one. That was a good record.
Yeah. It's stuff like that you either forgot about or that you might not even knew about.
That's right.
And we just wrote a short review about it.
That's what we're here for, people.
Yeah.
We're
So
here for you.
get on there and check that out. All right. Got anything else?
Adios.
All right. Until next time.
Thunder Underground, y'all.